I'm not sure about you, but scheduling in Excel was by far and large the worst part of my job, worst part about being an interior designer. I was in a daily tug of war with an Excel spreadsheet. You know, files were corrupt, images would be pixelated, you'd have 500 words in a cell this big. It was just not a great experience for me or for my clients or for my trades as well. So with Programa, you can create really robust technical specifications, have flexibility in how those are presented, create beautiful PDF schedules, a beautiful online experience, and then bring it all together in a fully branded client dashboard. So if we dive into one of my existing projects here, we'll take a look at a finished schedule first to give you the gist of what it all looks like once you've completed all your content, and then we'll go through the setup basics so you can get started straight away. So this is my completed furniture schedule, but in Programa you can create any type of schedule, whether it's furniture, lighting, materials and finishes, fittings and fixtures, external materials, up to you how you want to do it. The layout of it is very flexible as well. So as you can see here, I categorize my schedule into section by category, so chairs, tables, rugs, etc. But if you want to set yours up by room as well, you can, because each of these headings is completely customizable, sorry. Totally up to you how you want to organize your content. But just to kick things off, we've got our summary view here. So this is where you can add in all the top line key details you need quick access to throughout the day. So dot codes, dimensions, color, finish, material, all of the product imagery. If you need the financials, you've got a dedicated financial view here. So this is where you can add in trade pricing, retail pricing, markups, discounts, tax components. You've got the ability to switch a markup on or off. So if you don't work to a markup model in your business, you don't have to have it. But if you do, you can obviously switch on those calculation fields. We'll go into more detail around that when we add products. You have a details tray. So this details tray here allows you to add in additional product images. If you want to add in a fabric swatch, a little plan, you can upload them in there, up to 4 images per product. You've also got the option to add a little inset image. So if you click on inset, sorry, let me click on the right button here. You click on inset, that will actually give you almost like a little picture in picture. So if you've uploaded a material swatch, it will overlay it over that main feature. All the same summary details. And then when we get down here to custom specs, this is where you can add in your own custom details. So if there isn't a field for it in the summary view, you can create your own. So you're capturing the full spec information for your product. And then we've got various different note sections. Important information for highlighting red, any super important urgent details, a note section just for any miscellaneous info, and then your internal notes, which doesn't get shared anywhere. You have an optional procurement view. So if you do have procurement as part of your offering, we have a very handy tracker. This is an old project of mine, so all of those dates are well past due because I've done it. But essentially the procurement view gives you an up-to-date picture of where your logistics dates, so your order deadline, your shipments, your delivery ETAs, install ETAs, as well as your payment key dates. So when your deposits are all due, both on the client and supplier or vendor side, and then those balance payments as well. So this is a really handy all-in-one view to see if anything's overdue, what has been completed, and what you're on task with, so that we can meet those ever-looming deadlines by your ETA. Okay, so they're the various different views of your schedule. You've got the summary, the financial, the detailed procurement. I'll show you the end shared elements as well. So we'll dive into the PDF here first. No, this one. So this is the PDF export. It's A3. It pulls your studio branding from your organization settings. You can add in your own terms and conditions or disclaimer at the bottom. You can add in any cover page notes. This is where I like to include any like revision numbers or any other detail that's important. If we scroll through to page 2, then it's just a very clean paginated document of all my different items. So if you have to work to a PDF or you need these as like a milestone version, it's a really clean, very easy to digest, beautifully designed PDF with all the details that you need. We have PDF spec sheets for each one of the individual products as well. If you want to create a tear sheet for any custom items, you can export this single page PDF with the full complete spec information, including custom details and all of the notes into a single spec sheet. Now, when you export those, you can either do it as a single A3 PDF summary document, or you've got the option here to create a full export package with each individual spec sheet and your summary document, as well as any product attachments. With your PDF as well here, you can see that you can switch on certain groupings of information. So if you don't want to include any of your branding or supplier information or pricing, you do have the option to switch those ones off and they won't appear in your exports. You have the option to export it to Excel as well, but realistically, we are trying to do away with Excel because we don't think that it's really fit for this particular purpose. But if you have to use it, you do have the option to export it to Excel there as well. But manage expectations, it's still an Excel document. Now, the way in which we are trying to shepherd everyone into an easier or more streamlined way of working are through our online shared mechanisms. So you have the option to create a generic web link, kind of like a Google Sheets link, but with a Programa spin. You can publish your schedule to the web. It'll create a custom URL for you. You can customize which details to include or not include, as you can see here. If I open this one up, this is a live working, well, not a working document, I shouldn't say that, but it's a document that updates in real time. So there's no issues now with, your builder or contractor referring to a PDF schedule that was distributed 3 weeks ago and is now out of date. If they access this live link, they're looking at the latest details without question. We have ways in the working app of you being able to mark or highlight any really important changes so they don't get missed in the live document. But in any case, as you can see here, it's really clean, very easy to digest. It's mobile and tablet responsive, so you can view it on any different device. You'll get the full capture of information. You can view the financials if you've chosen to share them. You can view the attachments, download those on site. You also have got the flexibility here too of switching on a presentation mode. So my previous workflow was that I would create my schedule and then a pin board for my selections because I wanted a little bit of a nicer way of presenting my product selections rather than a big data heavy document. But with presentation mode, you're only entering your information into the schedule once, but you have the flexibility here of either viewing it as a very data heavy specification document or in this really beautiful image-based layout where you can click on any of the items, you can scroll through it in a gallery view, speak to your selections if you're doing a client presentation without needing to do any extra heavy lifting of creating a separate document. So that is the shared schedule. Another great tool that we've got to get your trades, builders, contractors on board if you want to give them access to those latest specs on site. You can download a QR code for your schedule. So it might not be relevant for this particular furniture schedule, but let's say you've got your fittings and fixtures or your lighting or your materials and finishes schedules. You can download this QR code, which again is accessible through the share panel here. Just click on that QR code icon. This will then download an A4 PDF with your custom QR code and your details. You can then scan the QR code. And if you've got your phone handy, please, by all means, scan away. It should work for you. And then you'll see, well, you might not be able to see on my camera, but it's got the live mobile version of that schedule accessible through that QR code. So that means that they can download any attachments, they can view any custom specs right on site from their phone. So this has saved my bacon a whole bunch of times with changing specs and making sure that everything is available to everyone exactly when they need it. So that's our web link, the generic web link. So like I mentioned, good for your builders, contractors, trades, but then we also have a specific client dashboard for your client interactions. So you add their details in, As you can see here, you can customize their level of access, so you can remove any sensitive data like supplier details or brand information or pricing, or you can leave it all on. That will email them a link to access their dashboard. If I open it up here, this is my client dashboard. It's fully branded with my logo. I've added this custom cover image here as well, so it feels really personalized for my clients. All of the schedules that I've chosen to publish to my dashboard appear in here, as well as any pinboard presentations and miscellaneous files that I've uploaded. If we jump into any one of these schedules, it's a very similar schedule experience. They've got access to that presentation mode, and you can also use this client dashboard to get any approvals and feedback on your products. So I'm just going to do this in real time here. Quickly pop review on a few of these items, head back into my schedule and we'll reload it. And you can see there's a new approvals and feedback tab. So if I click on this, it's then posted those items for review in the dashboard. Your clients can view it in presentation mode if they want to get a clearer picture of what you've put forward. They can view the details page for the item, so they get the complete overview of all spec information. But basically, they can then go through and say, all right, approve this. Let's leave some comments. Love it, love it, love it. Save and approve. Or not so sure about this one. Maybe let's go for a different color. Go through, do that either one by one or bulk approve or reject in a single click. That will then sync to your working schedule and you get an update or a little feed of all of your client interactions from the shared client schedule. Anyway, so that's the full kind of overview of the different elements of your schedule. Let's now quickly dive into creating your own schedule from scratch. So to create a new file, a couple of different ways that you can do it. This is my preferred method. It's just quick and easy to access. Click the drop-down arrow next to an existing file name. Click Create New. Choose your file type. So we'll do Schedule. This is what your empty default schedule looks like. Now, you've got the option of creating an empty default schedule from scratch, or if you've had time to explore some of our template projects, you'll see here we've got some pre-made templates for you. So if we do, say, furniture and decor, you can see here this is pre-mapped schedules with all of your sections mapped out, all of these placeholder items, a document coding system in there for you. These are great prompts that you can use to get to dive straight into your product selections. So if you would prefer to start with a template, you can copy this. So go Options, Copy To, and then choose your project of choice. Or you can save yourself a bunch of setup time and duplicate the entire template project, which will then create a copy of all the boards, all the schedules, and all the pin boards as well. Those templates are customizable. So if you do have a bit of time available during your onboarding 7-day trial, dive in, customize those templates to suit your workflow, because it's going to just save you a whole bunch of time at the end of the day when you bring new projects on board. Start with a template. In any case, we'll dive into the one that we've just created from scratch. So we've got our untitled schedule here. We'll start by renaming it. Now, hot tip, wherever you see 3 dots around the platform, that's generally your options. So if you're looking to rename something, delete something, archive it, whatever it may be, if you see 3 dots, click on it, you'll probably find what you're looking for. So in this case, we'll click Rename Schedule. Let's call this FF and E, save, and we've renamed it. Great. Now, with your empty schedule here, it comes with one default section. Now, as I showed you in that previous version, these section headings are completely customizable. So up to you how you want to break down your schedule. You can either do it by category, you can either do it by area if you prefer to work by space, flexible to your needs. So let's do that in this instance. Let's do entry. I prefer to set up my sections first. Kitchen, and let's do a dining maybe. Dining. Okay, so let's get started with my preferred method of adding products because it is by far and large the quickest way to set up your specs. And that's with using the web clipper. So if you haven't downloaded the web clipper yet, please click on Need Help, head into our guides. You'll probably find that it's the first suggested article because it's one of the most viewed ones. Download your web clipper and then dive into your schedule. So we'll head into this lovely product here from Living Edge first. We'll just refresh the page. Now I dock my clipper to my toolbar. So when you have loaded in the extension, just click on the little pin icon next to the clipper name and it will make it permanently available in your toolbar, quick access. So we'll click on the extension. Now you can dock it to either sides of your screen. So if you find that it's covering any of the content, you can flip that over, move it wherever you want. Now I want to capture some images. So I'm going to right click on my image, select clip image. Now if this option here isn't available because different websites are built in different ways. Sometimes they might have a JavaScript gallery as opposed to something more simple. In that case, if you're unable to choose that selection, just click on the screenshot tool here. It's active when it's blue. Then you can just use the little drag and drop over the top. So if you want to delete any of those images, just press delete. Now it's just a matter of, if I dock this over the other side again, highlighting the text and choosing the field that it corresponds to in your schedule. So if we do here, I'm going to do pendant light is my description. We'll do the source of bubble pendant is the product name. Nelson is the brand. This is my RRP. What else do we want to take? So we're doing a large one. It's in stock. So I can go to my lead time field down here, select in stock. I believe there's hopefully some product details. All right, large, let's go with that one. So we'll do diameter, which is essentially width by a length, and then the height here as well. So they haven't listed any of the materials or anything like that, so I might plug them in manually. They have got attachments, which is great because you're able to save any of those attachments to the clipper. So we've got the care and maintenance guide, and then we'll also capture this tear sheet that'll save to our product, save us having to come back and re-add them later on. I can put my dot code in here. So let's do PL01. Now, small tip with the dot code, you'll see there's a little note here. Now, if you're working to a template schedule, or if you'd like to update an existing product in your schedule using the web clipper, key in the same document code. So if there is already a product with PL01 in my schedule and I add that to the dot code field in my web clipper, instead of creating a new product, it will update the existing information with any of my new selections. So that's just a quick hot tip. We're going to do color as white, finish is as shown, material, let's just do paper. All right, cool. Now we capture all that detail. It is just a matter of selecting clip, choose my project, choose my schedule, and then where I want to put it. So I'm going to put it in the entry. Head back into my main schedule here, refresh my page, and there's my product. So now all I have to do is add a supplier in here. I've already got this supplier in my address book, so I can just add them in. And it's synced all of their contact information, so I can view the contact. It's got all their details. That's great. If you haven't added the supplier to your address book, no sweat. You can add the details in here as a custom item. Once you pop in all their contact information, it will also save their details to your address book for future use. So it's great. Once you add their details once, you never have to add them ever again. Now we can pop in a status. Big long list of statuses here. They're pretty self-explanatory, but one that I would like to draw your attention to is the hidden status. This is kind of a jack of all trades status. Essentially, it removes the product from your exported and shared document, but keeps it in your working spec. So let's say, for example, you've created multiples of the same product, but attached different suppliers to them so that you can use the bulk quoting feature. Apply the hidden status to the duplicates. It won't add them to your exports or your client dashboard. If you're building component products and you've got your one custom item that you want to share with the client that has an end price, you can then create other product entries, which are essentially your components, apply a hidden status to them, they won't appear in the end schedule and the total won't contribute to the product costs or the total schedule value. And if you're just not ready to share something with your clients, or you're still umming and ahhing about it, pop your hidden status on it and you won't worry about anyone seeing it. But for this purpose, we're just going to put internal review. Okay, so that's using the web clipper. Super simple, super quick. I use it for 99.99% of the items that I add into my schedule, and I suggest you do the same. You do have the option to add your own custom entries. Let's just move this one into a separate field, shall we? Move to section dining. So you can move products all around the schedule if you want to. You can copy them from one section to another section. Like I mentioned before, that all lives within your options. So have a play around with that as well. But let's create a dining chair. We've got our one here that we used previously. Dining chair. Spell. Now the product details field, I usually use this to specify the actual location of the product or for any other miscellaneous details that I would like to have on the summary view. So, we could say round table pairing, whatever it is that you want to use it for. Because I generally set my schedules up by category, I use that space to note the location. But because we're setting it up by space, you might want to put a category in there. Up to you how you want to do it. Your dot code, so this is corresponding to your plans. Product name, I'm pretty sure this is the fat chair. It's quite nice, isn't it? Tom Dixon. Let's do 450, 450. Let's do 750 to the top. Color, green, finish, as shown. And then the material, let's just say it's velvet. We want to have a quantity of 6. And there in stock. And I've got my supplier here as well as Living Edge. Cool. And then we'll internal review. So that's how you can add your custom product. Again, if I wanted to add in an image of the upholstery swatch, I can upload that in here. If I wanted to put in a custom spec, maybe here for the seat height, I can do that. Let's say the seat height is at 450 millimeters, or if I wanted to put like the weight or anything else that wasn't on the summary view, add it in as a custom spec. Notes, again, up to you how you want to use your notes field. Just the one distinction I do want to make though, you've got your notes field for generic notes, but then you've got important information. And important information is for details that will affect, say, the procurement or the installation or the delivery of the item. So this is like urgent, needs to be seen details, otherwise things could go wrong. It comes out red. You can't miss it. There's a reason why it's red. But yeah, that's available too. If you don't include any info in there, it's a hidden field. And then your internal notes. So if this is for stuff that you don't want to share with the clients or it doesn't need to be forwarded on to any other third parties, it can be your own internal chit chat within the team. Okay, so to add in your pricing, you can do so within the financial tab in the details tray, save you going out to the main page. So we can type in, I'll start with my trade price. What am I going to get these at? $1,500. We can do the retail price of $2,500. That'll calculate my trade discount. It automatically calculates my tax there as well. I've set this project to be GST inclusive, so all of my values are going to be input as inclusive values. If you prefer to put them in as exclusive, you can choose that within your project settings as well, up to you. For our users who operate within more complicated tax structures, we're kind of lucky here in Australia. We've just got GST on our goods and services, but we do know that in Canada and in America, you guys can get quite complicated very quickly. So with our tax system, I won't do a deep dive into it today. We do have a lot of material around how to set that up, but just know that you can create multiple different rates. You can create combo rates and apply those as you need to your products. But in any case, this is my pricing. If I want to update any of those attachments, I can. And then I haven't got approvals history in this yet because I haven't submitted it for approval. So that's the product there. Now, one thing I do want to run you through just quickly is the markup functionality. So if you don't work to a markup, as I mentioned before, you don't have to switch it on. If you do, switch it on, and there's a number of different ways that you can calculate your end pricing. So like this particular item here that we've snipped in from the web clipper, I say I went out and I got my trade price. I got my 20% trade discount, so I can type in trade price of 20%. It then calculates the actual trade price for me. Alternatively, you know what? I can just type in my trade price is very generous of $750, in which case I've got a 44% trade discount. Key thing here to remember is you have to add in a quantity. If you don't add a quantity, you're not going to calculate a cost. So make sure you add that one in there. So there's our cost. Now when it comes to my end price, a few different ways that you can do that. You can either just add in a straight markup. So we'll say, all right, I'm applying a 30% markup on this. My client price is then $975. My net profit, exclusive of tax, is $204. You could reverse engineer it as well, where you could say, rather than applying a markup, I want to pass on a saving. So I can say, all right, I'm going to give them a flat 10% discount off retail. You'll see here it recalculates the markup, the client price, and the profit. I could just say, what? Let's just charge them, what am I feeling? $1,400. That then recalculates all of the values again, or you can work backwards from a profit, like up to you. But basically the key takeaway here is whatever value you enter in, we'll do all of the reverse calculations around it. So you don't need any complicated formulas in Excel. You don't need to get your calculator out. Lord knows I messed up a few of those. This is the really simple way of coming up with accurate client pricing. So that is your financials for your product. Let's just put our markup on here as well. So that's my web clipper. Okay, last way that you can add products into your schedule is using your product library, and if you're based in Australia, our trade portal. So you can access the product library from within your schedule by clicking on New, Search Product from Library. This brings up this handy little side panel again. Now, if I want to search for, what am I going to search for? Let's do another pendant light. Keep it original. Okay, pendant light. So this is showing me the pendant lights that I've got currently in my product library. If I've got any more, it'll bring them up. Yep, there we go, under the fold. It also gives me options from our trade portal. So as I mentioned, it's just for our Australian designers at the moment, although we are rolling it out internationally quite soon. But I can scroll through here, see the available options from really reputable local suppliers who've uploaded all of their information. I can choose whichever one I want to specify, and then all of the information is copied across for me, no manual data entry, full details, and a contact for a rep that I can get in touch with for trade pricing. So in any case, I'm just going to choose this one here as my pendant light. I can add in my dot code, any other specific stuff that I want. Let's just do one of these, and then all good. If I go back to my summary view, the information's in there as well. So they're the three different methods that you can upload a product to your schedule. Like I mentioned before, by far and large, the quickest way to do it is by using that web clipper, or if you're in Australia, it's by searching the trade portal. We do have some really exciting stuff in the works in the background. So we have an in-house AI data engineering team who are workshopping ways to make this process even easier and less time consuming for you. So we've got some really cool stuff that we'll be launching this year. Watch this space. But once you've got your products in there, once you've added all of the statuses to your bits and pieces, there's a couple of other very handy things which you should do during your trial. So the first one being is getting bulk quotes. So let's, for example, say you've got 50 items in here, all different suppliers. Rather than, the old school way of doing things, we have to email them all one by one. We've built a bulk quoting system where basically you click on get bulk quotes. I might do this in my previous schedule because I've got some already ready to go. How it works is that you click on get bulk quotes, brings up all of your suppliers in your spec. You can choose everyone if you want to hit them all in one go with the pricing inquiry, or you can choose a particular supplier. it will collate all of their products in your spec. So if you've got one supplier that has like 10 different items in your schedule, it will send them one single quote request. So what that looks like here, I'll just quickly bring this up. Here's one I prepared earlier. So this is a quote request to one supplier from me. It includes all of the items that I've specified from them. It includes the top line information they need to give you an accurate quote. So things like dimensions, the SKU or product code, colors, finishes, quantities. If you've got any customized details, they can simply click on the product image to be taken to the details view for the item. So if you've added in custom specs or there are any extra attachments which are going to help you on your way for quoting, they can access it through there. So that is such a time saver. You're not spending hours a day anymore sending those individual quotes. The suppliers or the vendors get all the information that they need to be able to give you an accurate indication of cost straight away. And you can also include a little note in there too if you want them to send back any extra info. Okay, so that's the main working parts of your schedule. Naturally, this will kind of flow into a quick overview of our product library, which I'll just touch on now. So the product library is your own internal database. So it's not connected to the trade portal. It's just your own products that you've either imported through the web clipper. As you can see in the web clipper here, scroll back up to the top. You can also use it to import to the product library, which is really handy. You can import products from your schedule into your product library. So if you've gone through and done a full project schedule, let's just do something here, for example, FF&E, I'll open this one up. So say we've added in all these products and now I want to save these ones to my product library. I can choose the options, click action, and then add to product library. So you can either do it through the schedule, you can do it through the web clipper, but essentially it means that once you've added a product to your schedule once or from the web clipper and it's in your library, you never have to manually add that product ever again. Now, if I look in here, let's do like wall tiles, see what I've got popped in here. It'll have all of that detail that you've saved from the schedule, all of your custom specs, all of those attachments. It'll have your supplier details, any of the other essential information, and you can either add it to any of your projects from within the product, or you can do so from the main product library page. So yeah, super important tool to keep up to date in your system. You can add custom products at any point as well if you prefer to build out your product piece by piece. You can build it from a blank element. Otherwise, this is again going to save you hours of time re-specifying those same products over and over again because they're in your own centralized product library, accessible to everyone in your team. So that is the product library. We will do a separate standalone webinar for the procurement elements because there's a lot to get through there as well. But the high-level summary is that once you've sort of created your specs, you can turn those into your supplier purchase orders. So you can pull together a sales order for any of the items from your spec, send it off to your supplier. It'll include a detailed zip folder package of all of the spec sheets for the items contained in that PO. You have full visibility over the status of that purchase order. So if it's been opened by the supplier, if it's bounced, if it's been delivered but not yet open, again, gives you a bit more visibility. But it just means that you can take your product specs from schedule to order to invoice really easily. So just quickly on that, we have an invoicing system. The invoicing system is getting a bit of a facelift this year as well. This is the 1.0 version of our invoicing system. Still works really easily. It integrates with Stripe, integrates with Xero. QuickBooks is only a matter of weeks away now. We're so excited to get that launched for our North American users. So it will sync beautifully with your bookkeeping software as well. But basically you can create invoices, pull in products directly from your specs, pull in time tracking directly from your time tracker, and create any custom items as well. So that is the whole lifecycle ecosystem of how your products go from web clipper to schedule to client dashboard to PO to invoice. But as I mentioned, we will do a standalone procurement webinar where we can dive into all of that detail. Okay, that was a lot on product specs. If you do have any questions on what you've seen here in this section, please pop them in the chat now, because next we'll be diving into pinboards.